Hello and welcome back to Game Vitamins. My name is Nick, and today I wanted to talk about selling singles because not every card belongs on TCGPlayer and not every card belongs on eBay. So I wanted to get back to the roots, back to my original videos where I was sharing my exact process and talk to you about why splitting it up, different cards and different price ranges works so you're not wasting time or money or effort in your TCG selling journey. So without further ado, I want to dive right into it. But in case you are new here, I do run Gathering Grounds, which is a local game store in Portland, Maine. I'm also an online seller on TCGPlayer and eBay, and also sell sealed products directly to patrons. So I want to I've been doing a lot recently, and I want to go back to the singles because that is the bread and butter of the TCG industry. That is where everyone starts. That is where I started, and that is still where I do my most volume. So let's dive right into it. I want to talk a little bit about the problem with singles before I go into each different price point, where I list them and why. So let's talk about that first. I've been recording in the morning, so a little cup of joe. Cheers. Make sure there's nothing in my beard. So the problem with singles, it's not really a problem, it's just part of the game. And that is that a ton of singles don't sell for very much money. And the ones that do, you want to make sure you squeeze every bit of margin out of, because it's very easy. If you've been in the game for even a week, you'll know that your higher value cards sell very quick, while it seems like you always end up holding on to the lower value ones and they're just not moving at the same speed. So that is what I really want to focus on with this video, because again, not every card belongs on TCGPlayer. There are different price hurdles that affect your sales and your margins. I'll touch on those lightly, even though this won't be like a full-blown TCGPlayer video. I'm going to talk about how I choose between selling cards in my store or on TCGPlayer or on eBay. Those are kind of the three main categories I want to discuss. So again, let's go into why I do what I do and start with the higher end cards. I think that this is really like, a good sweet spot in terms of being able to really make some money, but this is also the area that is probably least applicable for most people. So that's why I want to start there and kind of brush over what I do. So cards over $20. Why $20? It's because at $20, the fee hurdle on TCGPlayer Direct goes down as a percentage of fees paid out as the overall card. That's about over $21.70. Anything between $20 and $21.70 if you're selling on direct, you want to list it $19.99 because you'll actually pay lower fees and you'll make more money listing it at $19.99. I won't go into all of that right now, but that is how it works. Over $20, I start to look at selling them on TCGPlayer or in my store. The reason I don't do eBay currently for cards over 20 is because the eBay tracked envelope only covers up to $20. So beyond that, you need to pay for tracking. Now, what I'll probably start doing, just to dabble a little bit more in it, because eBay has been successful for me as of late, is on cards over $20, adding in a calculated shipping cost for the buyer and see if we see any sort of volume there, or I will bake it into the card price. Usually like a small tracked bubble mailer, it's like about $5 to ship. So adding $5 on top of market price could get you there. It's just that given the current fee schedule and the fact that Direct takes care of all of the fulfillment, I'm able to just fill up my preferred RIs, which are the reimbursement invoices I only sell on Direct, with higher end cards, send those out to TCGPlayer, and then they fulfill all the shipments from there on out. And I think that that has worked really well in terms of minimizing the fees in the higher card value threshold, because the replacement card cost is the same whether it is a $25 card or if it is a singular like $80 card. So your fee percentage decreases as the card value that you sell goes up. But then if you look at, I'll throw a link down below and also just show a little screenshot right here, because it's quite, I mean, it's not super complex, but there's a lot to reference here in terms of the replacement costs. But still, if you're selling a lot of high value cards, your fee percentages do drop. Now, also the store, obviously with the store now, that is a totally different sales avenue for higher value, nice quality cards. So I'll talk about the store also in the $3 to $20 range for cards, but I do hand pick out cards that are nicer, that I think people will want, or that I don't have many copies of, to ensure that I have a few copies and backups for the cases at the store. Pretty much, if a card is of higher value, I know it could sell pretty much instantly on TCGPlayer, but I also want to have a good variety in the store. And also, I only pay 3% in fees at the store, unlike on TCGPlayer, being in that 20% range after all is said and done on higher value cards. Obviously, my overall fee percentage is like 35% on TCGPlayer because of all the lower value cards that I sell on there as well, where they take 50% of every single card. So these are all things you want to think about. Obviously, that's why I wanted to go over the over $20 one first. It's going to vary the most for different people. I think a lot of people will find themselves on TCG Marketplace and selling them through there, and that is totally fine. The fee percentage would still, you can calculate it out. That's like the generic marketplace one. But as a direct seller, this is what I'm doing. Now, let's move on to the $3 to $20 range. This one has changed up quite a bit for me, but essentially, the way that I'm treating this range of cards at the moment is that I'm looking for a lot of duplicates, a lot of staples, and pretty much a lot of duplicates and a lot of staples, because the reason being is that there's a lot of cards that fall into this value range, especially when you're doing stuff like I do, where I break down tons of commander decks, tons of boxes, also with trade-ins now. A lot of cards will fall into this range. So this is where you really want to maximize your profits and ensure that your efforts towards the cards are going to reap you the biggest reward. And this is where eBay comes into play pretty heavily. Now, again, touching on the store really quickly is, say I'm breaking down a ton of commander decks, a ton of boxes. There are some really good staples in that, say, $5 to $10 range. I have a ton of duplicates because they're coming straight out of commander decks. I'll keep a few on the side for the store, for the cases. I will also ensure that I have a limit on TCGPlayer for those cards to ensure that there's at least a few in the kiosk as well. So if people are buying cards from the kiosk in the store, it will populate and show up, because I want there to be a variety. So when people walk in and they want to buy cards, we have what they want. So duplicates, it takes a little bit more time, but if you're breaking down 50 commander deck sets, then you're going to have, say, I don't know, let's say with Bloomborough, like Helm of the Host, it's like $14 card, $15 card. I know that I had, say, 30 of those or whatever it was. I set 5 aside for the store. I set 5 aside for eBay. I put the rest on TCGPlayer. Now, eBay, I feel like this is a little scattered, but that's essentially what I do for the store. I want to make sure I have variety. eBay is becoming a new platform for me. And It's because in that $3 to $20 range, sort of that sweet spot where you can still have coverage on the 74-cent mailed envelopes up to $20, that they're getting tracked, you're minimizing your shipping costs, you're paying the normal fee percentages through eBay, which are a little higher than TCGPlayer. Actually, no. After the other fee, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, it's like 13.25%. So, all that being said, eBay demands a premium on cards, which is interesting, but it's true. And I even had a patron reach out to me saying my cards were a little bit underpriced for eBay, which I was surprised by because I was marking them quite a bit over market and including shipping into the cost. So why does eBay demand a higher price point? It's really just a different type of buyer. You go on eBay, and I'm the same way. I go on eBay, and I'm looking for specific sellers. I'm shopping their stores. I'm following their stores. For example, like ABU, when I'm buying Alpha cards, Kid Icarus, if you were buying Sealed P Football, these names if you are an eBay goer. So with that being said, eBay starts to curate a bit more of like repeat customers to a specific store, especially if you have a ton of listings and are very consistent on the platform. So there's that, and there's also the time that it takes to list on eBay that most people don't want to deal with. So there's less listings. There's not thousands of a singular card listed. There's tens. So that alone sort of has created a higher price point for cards in this range specifically. And it's been very good in terms of sell-through. Now, I sell thousands and thousands of cards on TCGPlayer. I'm trying to move a lot of those $3 to $20 cards onto eBay, but it's actually been hard to keep up considering it does take longer to list cards on eBay, without a doubt. But I will mention a tool I've been using, TCG Automate. It's been talked about more and more on YouTube, but we'll talk about it in a few minutes. And because it takes more time, I've just been kind of doing it while there's free time at the store. But after listing a few hundred cards with duplicates and multiples of each, so let's say we had like 1,000 cards listed on eBay, the sell-through was really good. I mean, I was probably selling 20 cards a day. I'd say that's pretty solid because let's say a card's market price is $4 on TCGPlayer. It might be selling for like $4.50 or $5 on eBay, and then I add like an extra 99 cents or an extra dollar onto it on top and include free shipping. So you're getting a higher premium on your cards. You're usually only packing single card orders, which is also really nice because it's really fast to pull and pack those. So whether it's myself or whether it's Andrew in the store, we're able to churn through eBay orders very quickly, especially given the way that we organize them, also kind of through TCG Automate. So that has been like the real bread and butter for that like $3 to $20 range as of recently. I still list a ton of them on TCGPlayer solely because when I am breaking down a ton of boxes, I'm trying to turn over those cards before other people do the same. For example, there was a Bloomborough reprint. I got a ton of boxes. We did like 50 sets, broke all of them down, ran them through the fizz batch. I separated out some of the duplicates and just adjusted my CSV file and uploaded them to TCGPlayer just so I could get some volume moving and some cash flow going through TCGPlayer on that set before like prices adjust. But I wanted to focus more on eBay, and like the cards have been selling really well. Like all those Bloomborough Commander staples have been great. Swarmyard Massacre, Swarmyard, Helm of the Host, Jacked Rabbit, just kind of the ones that are those $5, $10 cards. So that is kind of my new approach moving forward and what I'm going to be doing for the most part in that price range. Let's take another sip of coffee and let's talk a little bit about TCG Automate. I don't want this to be a ridiculously long video, but this is exactly what I'm doing with all of my singles right now. So, hey, it might be a long one, and hopefully it's helpful so you can get thinking. You know, I drink Nespresso. It always has this foam on the top. I swear to God, every time. It's just like plastering my mustache. So, hopefully not right now. Oh man, a thought just came to me. Oh yeah, one last thing about eBay real quick. For the love of God, with the new tools that are coming out, please don't be the person that ruins eBay for everyone and just like undercuts the hell out of everybody, because everyone loses when you do that. Keep eBay a premium sales platform. Unfortunately, all the info is already out there about the tools and services that can be used to enhance your eBay selling, and all I'm really doing is talking about them here. So, without further ado, let's talk about TCG Automate. So, Gem TCG on YouTube, he reached out to me, and Rob had done a video about this platform as well. TCG Automate essentially allows you to take scans from a device like a Ricoh 8170, a scanner like this. I'll throw up a little photo of it, and be able to upload those scans front and back to the platform, and it will identify the card image and match it up to whatever card it is. Now, within the platform, I think what I'll do is do a specific TCG Automate video of how I go about listing cards. I don't want to jam all that into one video, but this is the tool that I'm using for eBay, and it has been working pretty darn great. So that's the truth behind it. He's done a good job putting it together. The image recognition's like still pretty shoddy. Like, you do need to check every single card. That is the time drain on eBay, but if you're doing it over a certain price threshold, you know that it's kind of like worth your time, and it only takes a few seconds per card. Anyway, it recognizes the scans, it matches up the card, it puts it in a really long list of all the cards that you dropped in and scanned. You can update the quantities of each card that you have there. So, for example, when I was doing Bloomborough, I knew that I set 5 of each copy of a Commander Bloomborough card aside. So that was easy. I was able just to update all those to 5. And then you can hit edit, go from card to card down the line, and essentially just like check the images, make sure they match. If not, you just search up the correct card, and then it'll update your eBay listing. You can create parameters to make your eBay titles and descriptions a specific way where it pulls from the name, the set, the numbers. You can customize your description. The only thing I don't love is that he stamps every single listing with TCG Automate. I think maybe if you could make a way to remove that or pay more to remove that, it would be nice. It just looks a little corny. But I don't know. If you're buying a single, most people aren't reading the description anyway. But you do all of that, and then you can just export a CSV, bulk upload cards to eBay, and then you're good to go. You can upload like hundreds of cards at a whack, and then automated listings. You're pretty much already proofreading them, making sure that there's nothing weird. I use this really heavily for all of the trade-ins, especially in that $3 to $10 range, because TCGPlayer, I really don't want to spend the time setting up different categories for every single set that I have one-off cards for. So really, this price point is what we want to take for trades anyway. And if it's not a staple or we already have duplicates, we're able to just put it onto eBay. We'll do like an intake pile over the course of a week of whatever we're breaking down, product that we're trading in, and then just do one big eBay listing. So it's very easy to use. Code GV10. I do have a I do have a coupon code, a referral code. I like the platform. I'm not just plugging it for no reason. It makes life so much easier if you're even thinking about eBay. I had messaged a bit about like more custom pricing and whatnot, but overall, I think it is a really solid tool, and it's made eBay way more accessible to the average person. But with that comes the risk of eBay becoming like TCGPlayer, with thousands of listings of the same card getting drowned in the search results. So there is that risk. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But if you want to take a look at my eBay so you can see the scans, the way my cards get listed, I'll link that down below just so you can take a look, get a feel for what it's like. Now, that's $3 to $20 cards. That one went on for a little while. Let's talk about below $3. I think this will be a little quicker because it's a little bit more obvious, right? I'm a TCG direct seller, cards below $3. You don't want to spend tons and tons of time on, so I use the Fizz batch. I sort out all the cards by value to make sure that those are the cards that I'm listing on there. And then I upload card lists to TCGPlayer. Yeah, it's pretty darn simple. So out of all those products that we bring in, we break down. Anything below $3 just is sorted by set and then alphabetically sorted and then uploaded into TCGPlayer. Again, direct. I keep floors on a lot of my cards. If I really want to flush through cards, I will adjust here and there. So if you ever see me on there being low price, I'm not trying to race to the bottom. Certain cards, if they've just been sitting or I've built up a ton of them, I'll just adjust pricing accordingly just so I don't wind up with hundreds of a singular card sitting in inventory. So this is because it's mostly like bulk rares, bulk commons and uncommons. I sift for everything like above 10 cents and below $3. That's kind of my TCGPlayer range, and I've accepted that I am eating it on the fees there. But the goal here with the whole video, with the whole process, is that I'm trying to lower my fees on the high end, maximize my margins in the middle range, and then I'll just accept the fee percentages on the low range. And then overall, still when I do it all out in my books and on TCGPlayer, my fee percentage on TCGPlayer alone, because it's the easiest to calculate, averages to about 35%. So that is the number I still use to calculate profitability on different products and different singles that I'm breaking down, ripping, selling, and whatnot. So that is what I'm doing on TCGPlayer. That below $3 range is pretty darn simple. It's just not totally worth the time to be shipping out at the scale that we're selling cards now. It's just not worth the time to send a 15-cent card with minimum shipping and just kind of breaking even on the shipping. What I do in this range, a little tip here, is since I'm selling them all through direct, I have my shipping at about $4. People still buy 15-cent cards and pay $4 for shipping. I don't get it. They're not using the card optimizer. Their loss is your gain. It's the way of the world. If someone's going to buy it, they're going to buy it. So we still ship out a lot of orders. I think I refreshed it this morning, woke up to over 30 orders, most of them being small orders of 2, 3, 4 cards where they paid $4 in shipping. And those orders are pretty gravy, honestly, because if you're just pulling one card, packing it, shipping it, it takes no time. The shipping costs are $1, and all the rest is profit. So it's if you can just do it, it's like with eBay. It's nice because you can do one card orders really, really quick. Just pull, sleeve, throw them in. It takes a couple minutes. So if that. And when you multiply that out and you're getting $4 on shipping for each of those, that's worth the time. But that's why I set my shipping price to be higher. And then when people are buying mass quantities of cards from me, I might even bump it up to $4.99, honestly, just because when people do buy more cards, that gives me the flexibility to add tracking and not feel like I'm losing anything on it. I still list cards over $1 with higher higher percentage over marketplace pricing, because when I do bring in like 50 cards at a whack, I very often am selling to people I think who are building custom decks and whatnot and want to just buy me out. So then when I'm shipping out tons of multiples, it makes the shipping more expensive. So I hope that gives a good clear picture on it, even though that was a little bit of a tangent in that lower price range with TCGPlayer. But to wrap that price range up, you can get higher shipping on cheap cards. You can flush through a lot of cards. It's like what Rob says, TCGPlayer is like wholesale card selling. eBay is more like kind of front-facing, customer-facing store selling. And then obviously in the store is the best margins you can get. So that is how I break up across those three price ranges. And I hope that was helpful to get you thinking about your own singles setup and how you are approaching it, how you might want to approach it differently. Let me take a look at my notes, just see if there's anything else I wanted to touch on real quick before the end of this video, because it's going on for a while. Okay, no, I think that's it. The only thing I didn't mention is the 1 to 10 cent range. I run through bulk, no duplicate lots. I sell those a lot on eBay. They sell quite well, and that's how I flush out my bulk. So anyway, let's wrap this one up. Thank you all so much for watching. Let us know down in the comments below how you're separating out your singles. Any tips and tricks for all the other viewers is always appreciated to anyone watching and reading in the comments. If you want to join a seller's Patreon, link down below. Seller's Discord channel. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Cheers, and enjoy the rest of your week.